Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first ever episode here on the Do Something podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Alejandro Paredes. This is Camden, McFarland, and yeah, we did something. Yeah. What do we do, Camden? You want to explain?
Well, we created this podcast to keep ourselves accountable for the goals that we set for ourselves, and we will be sharing our experiences and what we've learned with you guys. And we have this podcast, we have an overall theme that's fairly broad, and we'll be touching on the topic of how to better ourselves to get the most out of life. So Alejandro, would you like to talk about the background story of Do Something?
Yeah, definitely. So Do Something, let's talk about the name for a little bit, because I think it's a little bit, it's important to talk about. So let's go back in time to our sophomore year. Pretty sure it was the sophomore year of high school. I went in and I bought this shirt from the school, and it said this thing, just said Do Something. That's all the shirt said. And I have a photo of it. We'll probably throw it up on the screen somewhere. But yeah, I bought this shirt, and it was a super comfortable shirt. I'd wear it everywhere. But every time I wore it, Camden would always come up to me, and when he saw me wearing the shirt, he'd come up to me and be like, "What you gonna do today? Just do something. Do something. What you gonna do?" So like, it was kind of like an ongoing joke from there, and like we kept it up every time I've like worn that shirt. But yeah, from there, fast forward to like a couple months ago. Since our like whole friendship or time being friends or whatever, we'd always have like these conversations, like these super deep conversations, or like these conversations about where we're heading in life, where we want to be, the goals that we set for ourselves, like all these super interesting things that we want to put into place. Yeah. But like we never actually got around to doing them. We never did anything. Yeah. So and then it was a couple months ago that I saw that Camden was reading a book that I was kind of interested in. And then I was like, hey, I wanted to start reading books again too. And I was like, okay, well,
book club.
Let's do it. Let's start a book club. Wow, fun. And like the main purpose of the book club was just to keep like ourselves accountable, like it's to actually start reading something that we wanted to do, a goal that we set for ourselves. And then from there we were like, yeah, we'll also like record once we finish a book. Let's just record someone like a podcast, just to keep track of like what we learned from the book, and then like see our progress, as years or like as we read more books and whatnot. And then from there, it was like a month ago where we were like, we definitely have stories and we have experiences. We have a bunch of things to share with like other people. Why should we just record this for ourselves? Like let's bring this podcast and our ideas to like a wider audience, and let's bring this to where we're able to share other people's stories. We're able to share our stories and our experiences with you guys, our audience. And that's the main purpose of like this podcast, to like help keep each other accountable for like the goals that we set, the goals that our audience sets as well, and kind of fostering that community of like people who are interested in doing something and like improving themselves and surrounding themselves with like-minded individuals. And that's like the whole point of this podcast here. So that's just kind of like the story of Do Something. And I think since this is our first ever podcast, I think it's kind of important to kind of introduce our hosts here. So how about like Camden? Do you want to explain the story of like how we met?
Early high school. It was maybe junior year. We did these service projects things together, and that's when like I really got to know Alejandro. I realized he was very funny, and we just kind of bonded really well. And then since then, I mean, we've been great friends, and we've had a lot of deep discussions and things that we want to capture on these podcasts. But I think that's like kind of, I guess, how we started off.
Yeah, most definitely. We've been friends longer than that. It's just we really I think we've been friends like something like 6 years now.
Yeah,
5 years I think. It's like the beginning of high school. But yeah, I mean, we've been together through like the best moments in our lives, the lowest moments in our lives. We've been through it all together.
That's true.
And that's super. I mean, I think that like kind of defines like our friendship too. It's like we know each other pretty well now, and like we understand each other. Like we're kind of different, but we're still the same. Like we share the same values and everything. And I think that's like kind of like our chemistry and how that works so well. So I think like when we started talking about like creating this podcast here, I was like, this is going to be awesome, because I think like our chemistry is like super cool. And like being able to share that with you guys, I mean, it's going to be exciting.
So, well, from here, do we want to explain, I guess, how we are actually going to do something with this podcast? Because, so far we're all like just talking, introducing ourselves, but we've come up with this big idea called the 1% Project that we're very excited about. And let's dive right into it. So what 1% means is a step to a goal, like an action to a goal. And so what we're going to be doing is at the very end of every podcast, what we're going to do is come up with a 1% for ourselves, and an action that we're going to do and practice on, so that we can reach our own unique goals. So do you want to explain, I guess, a little bit more about the 1% idea?
Yeah, definitely. So like the 1% idea is kind of like, okay, if you're able to put something in action every single day, like improve yourself 1% every single day, that's 7% a week, 30 to 31% every single month, and 365% a year. And like that's a lot of improvement. Okay. But like, let's be realistic. Of course, we're not gonna perfect something every single day. I mean, it's just kind of unrealistic. But the whole idea behind the 1% is intentionally setting up like, or performing these actions, or being aware of like what you're doing throughout the day to improve yourself and like just be better, take a small step towards that bigger goal that you have for yourself. And that's the whole theory behind 1%, is like if you're able to take that one action and really focus on it today, you'll reap the benefits for it tomorrow. And if you're able to continue those actions further on, you'll reach that goal that you set for yourself. So that's kind of the idea of the 1% there. And do you kind of want to, in our podcast here, we want to explain like, we want to tell you guys what our 1%s are. Do you want to talk about that?
So we are definitely going to be upholding to our 1%s that we create for ourselves. And we'll be making sure that we get those so we can express like what we've learned in our experiences through that. And we have come up with some goals that we want to set so that we can kind of give you guys an idea of the layout of what the 1% challenge will look like. So Alejandro, would you like to give the audience your goals?
Yeah, definitely. So I think that like how we structured this was like, we're going to tell you guys like our 1 year goals, our 1 month goals, and our this week, like the goal that we're going to complete this week, 7 days.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll my first yearly goal, like this is a pretty big one. My yearly goal is like having a smooth transition to my new school at Boulder. When the new year starts, I'm going to be moving out there. So basically my goal is to have a smooth transition, figuring out everything I need to do now in order to like see where I'm going to live, what the class I'm going to take, whatever. But that's going to be like my 1 year goal. And the 1% I'm going to take every day is like actually looking into like make sure I have finances in check, and like make sure I find roommates and all that other stuff. Those are like one step I can put into place every single day. Contacting potential roommates and stuff like that. We'll see. That's gonna be 1 year, and then for my 1 month goal, is gonna be, since we're filming this in August, school is gonna start here in like one more week. This month I want to make sure that I have a great start to this second year of college. Reason being, we're in coronavirus season, right? Like everything's online. Like it's like if you've taken online classes, it's not the same. It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
And like this semester, all my classes are going to be online. So I want to make sure that I'm like actually motivating myself to go to class and like being the best student I can be in those classes as well. And I want to make sure I set like a right environment. My 1% is like making sure I clean up my desk every single day to make sure that I'm ready to learn for the next day or whatnot. That's another thing I want. That's like my 1 month goal. And then my 7 day, my 1 week goal, definitely editing this podcast, getting this podcast produced, and getting that out everywhere by this Sunday. Hopefully, if you're watching this on Sunday, I completed that. Yeah, so you guys will know. You guys will be able to hold me accountable. So yeah, those are like my 1 year, my 1 month, and then my 1 week goal. Do you want to share some of yours?
Yeah, so my 1 year goal is about anxiety. I get a lot of anxiety a lot of times, so actually all my goals are related to anxiety. But let's see, my 1 year goal is like when I get anxious to like take logical steps to get past my anxiety, understand like what I need to do, what I need to get done, how I can get rid of the anxiety by being logical about it. That's my big 1 year goal, and I think I want that to almost be like a mindset. I don't want to just do that once and that's my goal. I want that to be like a mindset that I have every time I get into some like deep anxiety. And so for my 1 month goal, I want to stop going down the anxiety hole. I don't know if you guys, I mean, that's just the term I use, but the anxiety hole is basically like, I don't know, I'm not having the best day, to, oh my God, this is the worst day I've ever had in my whole life. That's the anxiety hole. And I just need to work on not thinking that every day is like, when one thing goes bad, it's the worst day ever. I'm not saying that happens all the time, but when I have my bad anxiety moments, that definitely happens. So my goal is after a month for that to like be gone. Sure, I might get some anxiety here and there, but to not have it be so intense and in-depth. And then for my 1 week goal, I'm trying to be able to take everything for what it is. Something bad happens in my day, and I just take it for what it is. Like, I'm still doing fine. Like, I'm living my life. Like, that one thing is not going to stop me. And, like, so that's, I guess, another mindset that I want to have. At least, like, my goal is to have it by the end of the week. We'll see where that goes. But as you can tell, my goals are obviously very anxiety driven. That's actually kind of where I want to do research in the future and where I want to take my neuroscience and psychology knowledge and hopefully help other people through that. So I kind of hope that my goals and my 1%, hopefully like you guys can relate to these 1% and maybe incorporate them into your life as well. And, also reap the same benefits. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And then we just mentioned to you guys like what our 1% are and like how we kind of structured that. And we want to challenge you guys, like, hey, hop on after this podcast, sit down, write some of your goals that you've had for yourself and what the 1% that you're
gonna but make sure you guys try to have the same structure that we did, because I feel like it's very helpful. It doesn't have to be the same, but it's very helpful to have a long-term goal, a medium-term, and a short-term. So if you take ours as kind of like, I guess, an example, like we challenge you guys to do the same. And then start, like Alejandro was saying, to make your first 1% right now that you're going to do. And let me be clear, it's not like it is an action. It is something you're actively doing. It's not like, I'm going to better my anxiety. That's not a 1%. That's a goal, I guess. You kind of want to make your goals specific as possible, but the 1% has to be an exact act. Like, because I get anxiety, I'm going to do this act every time I start feeling anxiety, and hopefully over time you create like a habit so that you get closer to that goal. So I just wanted to make sure you guys understand that it is an act specifically. And I think that's what's challenging about it.
Yeah.
That's because you got to do something.
You have to do something. Yeah, you got to do something.
Exactly. It's an exact act, and I think a lot of people, that's where they stop. Is like, it's the great ideas that they have. Oh, I want this goal. I have this goal. Whatever. Yeah, I want to get here, but like us, like a couple like weeks ago. We've definitely done this before. Yeah.
It's like we're all talking, and then all of a sudden, no action. It's like, okay, we mention these goals to each other, like these things that we want to do, and we don't do anything about it. So that's why like it's very important to have somebody to keep you accountable.
Oh, yeah.
It's very important to have somebody by your side checking up on you. It's like, hey, how are you doing? What's your progress and whatnot?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's like a big portion of like why we created this podcast too. It's like to create a community where people can come and hold us accountable. We can hold you guys accountable, and it's kind of forming this this community of just self-improvement. People who are actually reaching goals, being where they want to be in life, and actively taking the steps actually to get there.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of why, like, that's the community that we're trying to build here. Trying to surround ourselves with like-minded individuals that strive to better themselves, better their lives, just be better.
Yeah, and I think the best way to build this community and stay connected to you guys, I think it will be through our Instagram at dosomething.podcast. If you go follow that, please shoot us DMs, shoot us your 1% and your goals and why, and we'll keep you guys accountable if you'd like, and then we'd also this podcast itself is keeping us accountable as well. But we'd love to build this community through our media, and we would love for you guys to be a part of this. Maybe throw out suggestions of topics to cover, or some 1% that might benefit us that we haven't thought about. So
exactly.
Definitely feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be in contact. And that's I guess one of our big goals is to build a community around this whole do something idea.
Indeed. So that pretty much wraps up our first episode here on the Do Something podcast. Very exciting. Hopefully you stuck around to this point. And if you did, hey, go ahead and follow us on Instagram at dosomething.podcast. Send us a DM. We'd love to hear your feedback. Love to hear some of your 1% even. And we'd love to start a conversation. And so make sure you go ahead and do that. And Camden, do you want to kind of let our audience know what the next podcast is going to be about?
Yes, I'm really excited about this podcast. So our next podcast, we'll be talking about a book that we read called Make Your Bed by Navy SEAL General. And it really gives a good outlook on how to approach difficult tasks and how to push through the day when you might not feel motivated to
do something. That is so cheesy, but we're gonna keep it, and that's fine. And so thank you for listening to our first ever podcast. We really appreciate it, and make sure to follow us on our social media and send us a DM as well. And that's pretty much it.
Peace.
First episode done. Peace.